Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action!
Hi y'all, this is Jerry Williams, aka TV Jerry. In September of last year, I interviewed Justin Geltzoller about his movie Glue Trap, which played at the Richmond International Film Festival. He's bringing it back to town for 1 week at Movieland, opening on Friday the 13th. Hopefully, it'll be good luck for him, and I'll include a link to the movie on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com.
At least we know the shot came from a distance.
The crime.
With all due respect, Commander, I deserve a better explanation as to why I can't back up my partner. Ain't nobody scared here.
I know you're not scared, Detective, but experience is what we need on this one, and you just don't have it yet.
That was a clip from a movie entitled Out of Spite, and the last voice you heard was today's guest, Krystle Lowe. She got her BFA in performance from VCU Arts Theater and has worked in theater and on film since. This latest project is a police procedural where she plays the commanding officer. I'll include links to view it on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry. Meanwhile, we'll talk about working on the project and what else is going on.
Sifter Review of the Week.
Say Nothing on Hulu. Northern Ireland's fight for independence from England ran for 40 years with continuous bombings and other horrible acts on both sides. This series is formatted around the oral history from several key members of the IRA, also called the Belfast Project. The drama primarily focuses on two young women who started their involvement as teens, organized a bombing in London, and ended up in prison for an extended hunger strike. Meanwhile, several of the movement's leaders play a part in the story, including the mother of 10 who became one of the disappeared, and the involvement of Gerry Adams, president of Sinn Féin, who denies any part in the IRA. The performances are uniformly strong, and the filmmaking effectively ranges from outrage to tragedy to tenderness. This is a complex story told with intelligence, compassion, and power, detailing the personal tolls, continuous cruelty, and controversial politics from both sides, with the focus on the IRA. By the way, since the Irish accents can get thick and they talk fast, you might want to consider turning on your captions. I gave Say Nothing 4 out of 5 stars. Krystle Lowe, welcome to Sifter for the Ear.
Thank you.
We have something in common. A few years difference, but I graduated from the theater department at VCU in 1971, and you graduated
2004.
a little later than mine. Okay. Well, how was your experience at VCU?
I had a great experience. Met a lot of theater people who I ended up having a really close bond with.
And what is your current job? What are you doing now?
So I'm an assistant principal, and I'm at a private school.
What area?
Roanoke area.
Okay. So how do you fit acting into that? Because I know you've done a couple of these movies.
It's not always easy. It
I'm
really
sure.
just depends on the role and what availability that they need. Sometimes, I can plan ahead. And then other times it really just depends on if we're on break. The bigger breaks are usually the summer, but as an administrator, I don't always have those big, 6 weeks, 7, 8
Sure.
weeks, whatever we generally have. So sometimes it's 11-month contract and you're off a month, and sometimes it's 12 and you can't get off.
Yeah. Now, we were in vacation about 2 weeks ago, and we did a walking tour, and I was watching the movie Out of Spite, and I'm like, those brownstones look familiar.
Really?
Oh, and then I saw Sylvia's. I'm like, hello, they're in Harlem.
Oh my goodness. Yes. We, actually, the director, writer, Junie Smith, took me to eat at Sylvia's before we filmed.
Footnote.
Sylvia's, a.k.a. Sylvia's Soul Food, is a Harlem landmark since 1962, and the Red Rooster is right next door, also a popular Harlem restaurant.
That's a place that he frequents. He knows her very well. And so I think that was purposeful.
Oh, good. Actually, we ate at Red Rooster, which is right next door, which is the other
Okay.
well-known restaurant.
Surprise guest drop in.
Speaking of your writer-director, somebody dropped in to say hello. Junie,
Yes, Jerry.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
welcome.
Footnote.
In addition to writing and directing Out of Spite, Junie Smith is a native New Yorker who's also a stage and screen actor. Ironically, she just said that you took her to Sylvia's, and I was telling her that we actually ate at the Red Rooster like 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
It was kind of cool that I saw, wait a minute, this is Harlem. I know this place.
Yeah.
So, Junie, you want to tell me first, what's the basic story?
Yeah, let me just quickly say this, Jerry. Thanks for having me to
Certainly.
talk about the great, wonderful Krystle Lowe. Listen, I met Krystle via her cousin Beverly at the famous Sylvia restaurant in Harlem. In the conversation, she told me she was a graduate of VCU, and I had friends that went to VCU.
Uh-huh.
And she told me that she was a theater major. One of the things that the sticklers of mine, one of the pet peeves I have in terms of casting actors is that they have theater experience.
Sure.
The best actors come from the theater.
I agree with that.
So subsequent to that, she got on Zoom and auditioned. She was much, much, much better than I could imagine. And she was cast in the first movie we did together, which was entitled Murder to Crime, which is streaming all over the place now.
It's now on Peacock for sure. I'm going to put that link up.
Thank you.
But she had a much smaller part in that, and she just went by Krystle Churchill at that point.
Yeah, she had a featured role, if you will. As you know, Jerry, and I know she was taught at VCU. There's no such thing as small parts, just small actors.
Right.
So the next movie I wrote a starring role with her in mind.
There you go.
There was no audition. There was no conversations about what you think.
Right.
I told her that you're playing this part, you're coming out of Virginia, you're going to be playing a commander of the NYPD. I know all about the NYPD. My father was 27 years NYPD member.
That brings up a question I had down at the end here, but I'm going to ask you now since you mentioned your father. You had her, and I think she was the only one, but you had her in an NYPD uniform. How did you get permission to do that?
Well, my father was an NYPD officer for 27 years, Jerry. So that's how we got permission.
Okay, there you go.
And then, of course, what is the protocol there is that she's the commander, that would be the uniform, and everybody else under her were plainclothes detectives.
And what's the basic plot of the movie? Krystle, you want to tell us what the basic story is?
There is an ex-sniper. She ends up dating this guy, and she kind of finds out that she's being cheated on, and she kind of loses it.
She does indeed.
And she goes after him and everybody else. And there's, I hate to tell everything.
No, don't spoil anything. But you are the commander at the police station who send the cops out after her.
Yes.
Well, so, Junie, how was it working with her this second time?
It was even better. She came in prepared. The character was developed. She got along wonderfully with the rest of the cast, and they developed a chemistry, and we had a nice ensemble there and delivered. And independent films, 95% of them don't get distribution, and we were able to get it immediately. And that's a tribute to her and the rest of the cast.
Wow, that's great. Congratulations. So, Krystle, what do you have to say to Junie about working on this movie?
I can't say enough. He is a wonderful director, wonderful actor. I am so thankful to be able to be in his presence and learn from him and be able to experience all the things that I have. I just feel very inspired by him. I'm looking forward to whatever happens in the future.
I was going to ask you, Junie, you got another plan for Krystle at some point?
Yes, I have an immediate plan is that I'm working with her now to develop the script of a one-woman show on Pam Grier.
Oh, wow.
So that she could, Pam Grier is in North Carolina, and she could just man the theater down south there and just have a project to entertain people. And
she kind of looks like Pam, too.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. She just needs a big old afro so you can look like the 70s Pam Grier.
Yeah, exactly. That will be in the script there, Jerry. But that's a tribute to Pam, and it would be a tour de force for her. Very economical and convenient because it's just her, so she can move around the states. That's what's on the agenda. So We're waiting for the outline with her, and then we're going to tighten that script up, and I may direct it. Who knows?
All right. Thank you so much for dropping in, Junie.
But listen, Jerry, I appreciate that I could see that you watched the movie.
Of course
I did.
At
least some of the movie.
Oh, yeah. I watched the whole thing.
Thank you. All right, Krystle. Take care.
Bye.
So, do you have any plans to do any more acting anytime soon that you're aware of, other than the Pam Grier, which is exciting?
Yes, I have a couple of things that I'm looking at, trying to figure out logistics. I have not planned anything out as far as if I'm going to do a movie or if I'm going to do theater. I would hope to do film. The things I've been looking at is more film-based. And it's been a little difficult too because I'm also working on my dissertation for school. Trying to balance all this stuff is
Right.
tough, but I'm doing my best.
Good. And when you're on set now, is there anything you hear from a professor or anything you learned at VCU that clicks in your head that you can remember?
There's at least 3 different professors I had, and I think of them quite often. First was my professor, Marvin Sims, that passed away.
Yes, he did, sadly. Great guy.
I think he saw the light in me and the passion. And then I remember Gary Hopper.
Good old Gary. Yeah, wonderful director.
If it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't know half the plays. We had to read so many plays. I mean, he had everything ready to go. So when I say like switching to the educator side and doing a syllabus, he had his stuff together. I owe a lot of that to him. My third one, Lori Lindbergh, her claim to fame was Weekend at Bernie's. One of my favorites, old school,
wow.
old school. I'm not sure which one she was in, maybe the first one, but I remember her talking about it. When I tell you, she would tell you what it was. She would tell you like it is. So if you got up there, there was no messing around. I think she prepared me for things that I might hear in the future. You know, like they say that the business is tough. You're going to hear all sorts of things. You're not going to be the right fit for everything or everyone. And I just remember her, saying a lot of different things, and I was always listening.
She got you prepared for where you're doing now, doing a little bit of it. Yeah. Is there anything you want to mention about the movie or about your experience that I haven't had a chance to ask you about?
I was so pleased with the final production, all of it. Like to do it and then to see it all put together. So I was so impressed. We had a red carpet event in New York.
And how was it seeing yourself up on the
cool.
screen?
I mean, I had done it before with the other movie. I'm just sitting there watching it and I said, well, I'm really pleased with my work. And I was very proud of how it all came together. And I felt really good about it. So it was a great experience. And for Murder is the Crime, I couldn't have been more excited about that role. Like I really worked hard when I auditioned for that. And so I had no idea, what I might get, but I just sent it on. And then he said, you did a good job on your audition. I didn't know I did a good job. I just kind of did what I could. The first experience when you're speaking on film is like, that's the one that you will always, always remember. It will be most dear. I will say Out of Spite is just as dear to my heart.
Well, that's great. I'm going to have a link to both of them on the webpage. One question I like to ask people when you're not working at school, which I'm sure takes plenty of your time, or working on a movie, what do you like to watch? What are you watching in streaming or what movies you've been to lately?
Okay. So most recently I watched Beauty and Black, the Tyler Perry series, which has some incredible, phenomenal actors in it. I really like a lot of the series by 50 Cent, which I watched pretty much all of his. I watched Raising Kanan. I watched the Power series. I love the New York crime is just so interesting to me. And so when Junie wrote the film, I was like, oh my gosh, New York crime. It's pretty cool. I watched Power series. I watched Ghost. And then I watched BMF. That one was great too.
Now, speaking of actors, and you mentioned Tyler Perry, did you by any chance see Jazzman's Blues, his first drama that he did about 2 years ago?
That is the one that Joshua was in, right?
Josh Boone, I was going to mention, yeah.
Footnote.
Joshua Boone is a Portsmouth, Virginia native who also got his acting degree from VCU and is currently on Broadway in The Outsiders as Dallas.
I did look it up. I have not watched it. I haven't had a chance to, but it's on my to-do list to watch. I watch tons of stuff when I have the time.
Actually, it was interesting because we just saw, when we were in New York for that trip, we saw The Outsiders, which of course he's got one of the main roles in it.
Right.
And we got to go backstage and meet him. So that was really neat to meet Josh.
I thought that was so interesting. Yeah. Once upon a time, I taught The Outsiders novel. They say that is a bit of an older novel, but I loved it. Well, I remember watching it as a child. Right. I remember all of the actors in it. So when I was trying to figure out what to teach my students, what novel I could read that had a lot of parts, I said, well, what about The Outsiders? And so I remember I did this really cool shoebox project for that class. And the kids had to choose a character and they had to fill a shoebox with all things that related to that character. Like, I remember that class so well.
Great.
But,
Great.
I love that play. I love that novel. I love those actors.
Yeah, well, that's full of famous Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe. Yeah, everybody was in that movie. That was a lot of stars in that. Well, this has been great. It's been great to finally get a chance to meet you, and I want to thank you so much for being on, and we'll look forward to hearing about Pam Grier.
All right. I'm going to knock it out. Thanks so much, Jerry.
That was Krystle Lowe, whose latest project is Out of Spite, a police procedural where she plays the commanding officer. I'll include links to view it on multiple platforms on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com.
Coming soon. In theaters.
The Order. Jude Law stars as an FBI agent who traces a number of bank robberies to a neo-Nazi group. It's based on a true story, also with Nicholas Hoult and Ty Sheridan. Y2K. This teen comedy takes place December 31st, 1999, when two high schoolers attend a party that goes horribly wrong. The Return. In this mythological tale, Odysseus returns to Ithaca after 20 years to find his wife prisoner by suitors trying to be the king, starring Ralph Fiennes and Juliette Binoche. Werewolves. Two scientists try to stop a mutation that turns people into werewolves, starring Frank Grillo, and not to be confused with Wolfman, which is due soon.
TV and streaming.
Black Doves on Netflix. When her lover falls victim to the dangerous London underworld, a woman's employer calls in Sam to protect her, with Keira Knightley and Ben Whishaw. Michaela's Voice, A Letter to the World, on Netflix. This short documentary introduces a black teenage girl who has spent her life grappling with a rare form of autism that rendered her essentially nonverbal. Lost in the Amazon, on Max. After surviving a plane crash, 4 indigenous children aged 11 months to 13 years endure 40 days in the Colombian Amazon. Maria on Netflix. This film about the final days of opera diva Maria Callas stars Angelina Jolie. And since I just caught it at Movieland, my review is up on the website. The Real Full Monty on Hulu. A group of male celebrities strip to raise awareness for cancers specific to men, including James Van Der Beek, Tyler Posey, and Taye Diggs. Jamie Foxx, What Happened Was, on Netflix. This documentary follows Jamie Foxx's medical emergency while he was filming the Netflix movie Back in Action. Sugarcane, on Hulu and Disney. An investigation into the abuse and missing children at an Indian residential school sparks a reckoning on the nearby Sugarcane Reserve. No Good Deed, on Netflix. 3 different families vie to buy the same 1920s Spanish-style villa, including Dennis Leary, Ray Romano, and Linda Cardinelli. La Palma, on Netflix. A Norwegian family vacation in La Palma faces chaos when an imminent volcano could trigger a massive tsunami. Bookie, on Max. The second season of this show about a veteran bookie stars Sebastian Maniscalco, and it's a funny show from Chuck Lorre. Paris and Nicole, The Encore, on Peacock. This 3-part special reunites the original BFFs. Next week, we'll talk with screenwriter Sharon Cobb, whose The White Van is dropping soon. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sister, including literally thousands of reviews,
Visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.